Hello, hello, most beautiful stars. I'm a minute early, folks. That's okay. That's how we're going to roll today. I see that Shelly is in the chat. Good to see you, my dear. So, good news, everybody. Oh, my goodness. And I'll be definitely talking about this live Friday morning at 11 a.m. this Friday, October 25th. Oh, my goodness, everyone. We were able to raise $800 for the hurricane relief efforts here at Stars of the Morning Light. I will tell you, everything is bought and ordered, or it's on its way shipped to my house or in my house already. I am working with Tree of Life Farms down outside of Atlanta. She's from the Appalachias. She's got tons of network there. I'm working along with her, so bless her. Her life has been chaotic and crazy as well. Bless her, Bridget, for connecting me with the right people that will make sure all the supplies that you all were able to be able to donate can get to those in need. Sincerely. Sincerely, like very much so, folks. So thank you, thank you, thank you. $800. That was well worth it. And those who are supposed to be receiving supposed to be receiving a tarot reading from one of the readers, they do have until the end of the week. I'll be doing mine tomorrow. I think some of them already were sent. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I see that Lori is in the chat. Good to see you, my dear. Oh, and happy birthday. Lori had a birthday recently. Happy birthday, my dear. I am live. This is Edgar Cayce Life Skill Studies. We are in Edgar Cayce on Reincarnation. This is an original copy from 1969. I do not read word for word because I do not plagiarize or copyright any issues here at this channel. But we will be going through it. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about why do we not know what our past lives are. And I may speak about some personal experiences that I went through this past summer with a transit I went through, or hold on to that so I can feed it in nice throughout this entire book. Oh, Lord, you're 64 years young. That's right, darling. Good job. Good job. I love birthdays. Everyone here at Stars of the Morning Light knows I love birthdays. And it's actually because of this. Because, Lori, you chose to come and bless us on that day, and the world is a better place because you chose to do so. So, thank you, my dear. It's your personal new year. It's wonderful. It's great. Thank you for blessing us, right? Everyone who's born, everyone who's alive. What a great blessing. I do say hello to those in the chat, everyone who pops in, because I am live and this is an interactive channel in many, many ways. And beloved patrons, if you listen to this, I did receive the collective Akashic reading for November of 2024. I have not recorded that yet. It will be coming out soon. And I might talk to the patrons more so about things than rest. So consider subscribing to Patreon, to Stars of the Morning Light on Patreon. All right, folks. So we are actually like in chapter 2, and chapter 2 is, the title is If We Have Lived Before, Why Don't We Remember? And this book is written lovely. So much better than the last one we went through as far as reading wise goes. They got a great writer that uses a lot of prose to make points, and it's done very, very, very good. He starts off with, so if we've had all these past lives, Why don't we remember them? If it was it's gotta be beneficial, don't we think? Well, let's examine that, and that's kinda where we're at. He opens up with 2 big ideas as to why we don't remember, and he uses 2 different kind of scenarios to explain these ideas, and a lot of it is beautiful, lovely prose, really, stories, right? Examples to get us to understand. The first one he was using, like, you're on a ship and, you know, basically the terror of maybe sinking comes. I'm gonna remove all the parts of the story. The main thing is that, let's say you're you're thinking you're gonna go down, you're gonna die, you're gonna die, you're gonna die with this ship. You're going down with the ship, you're going down with the ship, but then somehow, whatever the problem was gets fixed. And now you're kinda laying out on this ship like, "Oh my goodness." Everybody's been working real hard to make sure they fix whatever the problem is, and there's that moment, and I loved it because he actually quoted David Thoreau, who I'm a big Thoreau fan. Um, he quoted him in that last few minutes of, like, when you think we're going down, it's that silence. That and what is referred to as from David Thoreau as that quiet desperation. Like, it's so terrifying that it's just silent. But then you have that other round of silence when the chaos is stopped, whatever needed to be restored was restored. Yes, is there still work to be done, but are you saved? Yes, you're not going to go down with the ship. There's now this other silence that you're all of a sudden there in the moment, that breath, that recognition, that awareness of, "Oh my goodness, I'm not gonna go down with the ship." He did a lovely he wrote a very beautiful scene there. He really did. To kinda drive home with that thought that what drives us humans often is trying to, I don't know, succeed at life in whatever various forms it may be, because we know what the end result is. We know that at some point this life will transition. So we have that in our awareness. And then there's those moments of right before it might happen that is counteracted by the I'm safe breath, I'm alive, that in those moments, that is what in today's world, because this was written in 1969, in today's world would talk about being in the now. Those two different silence. One, when you're right about to transition out, and also he was drawing the similarities that when the ship didn't go down and the acknowledgement of I'm alive is like the being reborn, having that breath of life all of a sudden back, that moment of awareness there, that the two go together, and the two are like the beginning and the end that work together to create a beautiful landscape, masterpiece, storyline for each of us. And we're born again. I should say we're born again, but we do know because we did it so many times before that there is an end result. So we try to fill the life with all these little goodies that we do. and receive and give and go through. That is really what propels a lot of humans. Death and rebirth. And we have that witnessed with every day, the sun and the moon, the sun and the moon. I mean, we're constantly in the remembrance of that in every stage of the natural seasons, right? Summer is represented as when we're kind of in our full power of life, like our mature adult years, and we're working and we're taking care of things and we know better and we're creating and we're doing all sorts of stuff. Summer represents that. The autumn that we're going into now represents the later years of our life, right? The wisdom and the slowing down of our later years into the period of death, which is pretty much 6 weeks, January into February of darkness, to then reborn to start growing again very small in February with ideas, really small. And then we bloom and rebirth in the spring and we start growing more all throughout nature, all through the sky, all through all energy. There's this concept of death and life and rebirth, right? So that is what he was drawing on, is that we innately understand that about ourselves when we first come. Now, if we were to know all of our past lives, that would kind of jumble up our understanding or how we live our life now. Please humor me. Because then he kind of went into um, a very well known actor at the time, Laurence Olivier. Okay, he kept saying he was the best actor ever, and I'm like, okay, in 1969, I can see where you're saying this. Um, he was talking about from imagine an actor who can put on all these different masks and really become their character. They're very much they are that character. And in their career, they might play multiple different characters. But the character they play on stage or in film is not the same as the person that then goes home and makes the dinner and pays the bill and takes a cab and, whatever they may do, go get a haircut, whatever they may do, right? Not the same person. So, with that, they were trying to draw on when that person, that actor, walks out onto stage, all of a sudden they are this character. Fully the way they dress, the way they think, the way they speak, the way they perform, all demonstration is of that character. If we knew of our past lives, A, the fear of death and not succeeding at things would probably not be as significant as it is ingrained in us. I mean, how many of us would go, well, geez, I seem to not be able to get it right ever, right? Because I have enough people in my life that continuously say, I hope I get it right this time so I don't have to come back. Hold on to that, folks, because that's where we're headed. This whole getting it right. Oh, I'm so happy Edgar Cayce is who he was. So, not just that, not just kind of giving us a very odd perception on life if we can remember all of them, but also this concept of who would we be from day to day if we did? Would we all be these actors And yes, some of you may argue, well, everybody wears masks anyways in life. We do to a certain extent. To a certain extent, depending on the company we're around or the task at hand, right? But a person normally, I should say normally, does not wear an entire different outfit and perform completely different from their day-to-day doings and happenings. But who's to say we wouldn't if all of our past lives were within our consciousness? Now, I do want to note that Edgar Cayce would say that all of our past lives are within our subconscious, that we can access them in our subconscious. So, if they were all of them floating around in your consciousness, and definitely not in the now, definitely most likely not even, I don't know, be able to handle day to day. And who would you actually be? What life would you actually be living? What story would you be writing? Right? What would you actually be creating? So there are reasons why we don't remember. Now, with that being said, before I get into a whole lot of what I'm going to read in this chapter, because we're fixing to go into karma, and anybody here knows that I have many a thoughts about karma, many a thoughts. With this all being said, I want to point out to everyone that Edgar Cayce, even in his own predictions, said that 2024 would be the year that so many people would be seeking more spirituality, seeking their understanding of past lives, seeking as to how all this works. And out of that, and I mean, he said it would be the year of the, I don't want to say it's the Grand Awakening, but it's definitely like, okay, everybody that's probably going to awake is now on the path to awakening. Okay. So even he was saying the energies change around this time. Now, I decided to do the Edgar Cayce Life School Studies. And hi, I'm Courtney. Nice to meet you. I'm host of Stars of Marine Light. Please give a thumbs up and consider subscribing if this is your first time here. I have been saying for a long time that the energies now are available for everyone to begin to remember. The only reason why is because the majority of our souls here on earth have gone enough rounds that we are mature enough to handle the information. And that's where we're going to head because he starts talking about that as far as karma. And this is, I used to have this question for people as well. I used to, I often said throughout my entire, well, I don't know, for a very long time, I've often said over about the past 15 years or so, it doesn't make a difference if you know your past lives or not. It really hasn't. It shouldn't, right? You should be able to choose doing the right thing without knowing your past lives. Now, is it good to know so we can maybe remove some of that negativity? Yes. Is it good to know that you are full of all the skills you could possibly imagine because you've already done them all? Yes. But the majority of the time, knowing what your past life is does not affect your day to day. It does not change how you're going to talk with someone, treat someone. And this is why. This is why I often would say this. In the book right now, and he starts asking this stuff. Suppose you were allowed voluntarily access to all your previous lives. And one day, by chance, You stumbled across the memory of having been the greatest monster in history. How would you deal with that horror, the belated remorse? How would you deal with the fear that your soul might be in such errors that you would have to put in another million lives of of bitter compensation to atone for the harm you did your fellow souls in that one incarnation? What hope would be left for you? Please ponder that, folks. Please ponder that. Please ponder that. I will tell you, that does happen. That people learn of their past lives, and some people, especially if they're very gifted people, sometimes they didn't use their gifts well, not at all well. I was one of those people. I cannot tell you the amount of just horrible stuff. And then I got to see also, like, how much atonement and, like, or just trying to fizzle out that energy, trying to work through it. It wasn't even so much atonement, it was, like, just trying to have it weaken in, force, let's say. So it's like you could be this horrible, horrible being thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, treating others so wrong. And then throughout all the lives, it just kind of gets less and less and less, but it's still bad. You've still done. I've had so many lives that I'm like, oh my God, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, what I've done, right? What I've done. And when you're not emotionally mature yet to know that or to handle it, it could go in so many wild ways, right? So that's a big issue. And I can guarantee a lot of people always want to be like, I was a queen or I was a princess or I was, a part of the court of some, royal, or I was a druid, or I was, they want all these titles. They want so many titles. Very few people want just the average story, want just the average life. Personally, I would rather take an average life than any of the ones that we did harm. And look throughout history. I can guarantee you, just out of necessity, out of status quo, out of what people were doing, you have lives that you most likely harmed others. And if you took that in, if you were aware of it, child, because we come into this world as a child, let's see, even as a young adult. I had one that hit me when I was a young adult, and it destroyed it made it it was very difficult. It was very difficult to take it in. Very, very difficult. As a teenager, I did not have the emotional maturity to have the awareness of that. I did have those thoughts. Oh my goodness, I am going to have to become a saint for like the next however many hundreds of my lives to repair that time period, which is not how it works, but that is a huge issue. Back to the book. Actually, this situation can never arise for the simple reason that it would throw the whole karmic law of cause and effect out of balance. And the workings of that law are fixed and unalterable. The no soul will ever be permitted such knowledge of its own past blunders. Whatever the debt a soul owns to its fellow souls, it will never be called upon to settle it until the soul has to a progressed, sorry folks, to a mature level to make such compensation possible and practical. Meanwhile, from this point on, let us okay, then he's going to talk about karma. So he's saying in 1969, I'm trying to bring Edgar Cayce's information 100 years forward. So yes, people are capable of remembering their past lives definitely now. The energies are different. They are differently presented for us. And I do sometimes feel that those of like the spiritualist movement then, and even some of like, let's say more of the hippie and spiritualist stuff of the late 60s, early 70s. um, I always felt kind of sad for them because the energies that they wish were presented at the time so they could learn more and do more and experience more was not available for them. It is now. So if you're older and you're hearing this, then do it, go for it. But it is now. It's more open now for everyone to start remembering, right? This is why we say just remember who you are. When he's saying though, for the simple reason that it would throw the whole karmic law of cause and effect out of balance, and the workings of that law are fixed. That if you knew your past lives, it would throw out the law of cause and effect because we would react. We would either then, oh my goodness, I was such a bad person. I had to be holier than thou. I'm going to join a convent and never hurt. I can't even kill a fly. I can't do anything. It would it would change up the cause and effect that was in motion. That's in motion for us to air out this stuff regardless. Or we would just stop. We give up. We give up. We go back to that first thing that I was talking about, the principles of death and rebirth. Death and rebirth. I mean, I think it goes two ways for people. Either they have to accept death in order to enjoy this life and really truly start living it, or the opposite, because we live in the world of opposites. Or it's not an acceptance of death, it's the stop craving it, right? Stop craving it, stop wanting it. It's one thing to know that it will happen. It's a totally different thing to not live life because you're just waiting around for it to happen. Cause and effect would be all over the place. This is a quote from Cayce. The entity, the human puts a stress upon karma. Most individuals in the present misinterpret karmic conditions. Each soul or entity should gain the proper concept of destiny. Destiny is within, it is of faith, it is the gift of creative forces. Karmic influence, in this case, is rebellious influence against destiny. Karma is a reaction which may be compared to the reaction within the body when a piece of food is taken into the system. The food is translated into a part of the body itself, but penetrating to every cell and influencing the health of the body and mind. So they're trying to say karma is cause and effect. But let's go up real quick before I really start digging into karma. I love that Casey starts saying that most individuals in this present misinterpret karmic conditions. They don't understand destiny. Destiny is within. It is of faith. It is as a gift of the creative forces. Karmic influence, in this case, is rebellious against destiny. So, because we live in the world of opposites, you got karma on one side that says, okay, tit for tat, tit for tat, tit for tat, karma, tit for tat. And then you got destiny over here, poor destiny, which I always will say there is no such thing as destiny. And it's because it's exactly what he just said. Because everybody has this weird thought that destiny is, especially when you do Akashic readings, they think that their story is just completely written and everything is just drawn out. And because, we're taught that we come and choose our life. Edgar, Edgar Cayce very specifically said that we choose like our family, we choose the location we're born. That's about it. Before we get here, we might choose some definite key players in our life, right? These are soul contracts. Soul contracts and karma are not the same thing, yet people relate them. Very not the same thing. We think that that soul contract is there to help us work through our karma, two completely separate things, but yet we mesh it all together. Karma works on cause and effect. Destiny, which, like I said, I don't even use that word, is you writing your own story. Destiny is within. It is faith. It is the gift of creative forces that are within you. So there is no, I don't know how your story is going to end. You don't know how your story is going to end. Unless you design, you're designing it right now. Yeah, I don't even know if your story might go on and on and on and on. Who knows? People now, if you want to live to 102, go for it. If you want to live to 202, go for it. That's what I'm trying to say. Destiny is not the same as karma. Karma is based in the law of cause and effect, which is a hermetic principle, which is a universal law that we do need to understand how it operates in order to then look more towards destiny and use destiny to create new causes and new effects, right? But yes, your soul contracts are not necessarily has to do with your karma. That is a can they? Yes. Yes. Can they? Yes. Do they have to? No. And I think I stated weeks ago, I apologize. I'm gonna pause because this that's gonna actually be, I think, how I end today. So karma is a reaction, which may be compared to the reaction within the body when a piece of food is eaten. It's just a transaction. It's just a transaction. I did this, tit for tat, this happens, cause and effect. Thus, it is with a soul when it enters the body for an experience in the earth. The person's thoughts, along with the actions which result from these thoughts, are the food upon which the soul feeds. I'm going to keep going. These thoughts and actions, in turn, have been generated by thoughts and actions behind them, and so on back to the birth of the soul. Gonna keep going. When a soul enters a new body, the door is opened, leading to an opportunity for building the soul's destiny. Everything which has been previously built, both good and bad, is contained in that opportunity. There's always a way to there's always a way of redemption, but there is no way to dodge responsibilities which the soul has itself undertaken. So I want to go back for a moment, folks. As we read about how the soul needs to be mature, no soul will ever be permitted such knowledge of its own past blunders. Whatever the debt of a soul owes to its fellow souls, it will never be called upon to settle it until the soul has progressed to a mature level to make such compensation possible and practical. Now I'm jumping right back to where we were. When the soul enters a new body, a door is open, leading to an opportunity for building the soul's destiny. Everything which has been previously built, both good and bad, is contained in that opportunity, current life. There is always a way of redemption, but there is no way to dodge responsibilities which the soul has itself undertaken. I'm going to read those two again. Please understand what I'm trying to do here, folks. I'll read it slower. No soul, except you can now. You can now. You can now, if you're mature enough. No soul will ever be permitted such knowledge of its own past blunders. Whatever the debt of a soul owns, or whatever the debt of a soul owes to its fellow man, it will never be called upon to settle it until the soul has progressed to a sufficient mature level to make sure compensation possible and practical. So, all of the people that want to know of their past lives, I have to ask you this. Are you at a sufficient mature level, conscious level, that when the knowledge of your debt to others is presented, can you make such compensation possible and practical? And practical. You can't a lot of a lot of karmic debt, folks, is not paid, as in money. And how many are sufficiently mature enough to handle all of it? This is why often I'm always like, what does it matter if you know or if you don't know? What does it matter if you know or you don't know? It's not going to change how you live your life if you don't start changing how you live your life without knowing. It's not going to make a difference. The change starts with you, and that's that sufficient, mature level. When a soul enters a new body, so when you're born, the door is opened, leading to an opportunity for building the soul's destiny, for writing your story. Everything which has been previously built, all of your past lives, good and bad, is contained in that opportunity, in that first breath of yours. Everything good, bad, everything built prior to this life is present in opportunity. There is always a way for redemption, but there is no way to dodge responsibilities which the soul has itself undertaken. So, this life that you live, once you took your breath, your little babies, yeah, the little babies, we were all babies at some point. Once you took that breath and you're here and you're happy and you're doing great, or maybe some of us not so great, right? Everything in life is an opportunity. And so even weeks ago, when we were I don't even know, is this if this it was this show or with Lucky on Lucky Stone 888 at 8 o'clock, which this coming Friday, October 25th, we are live on his channel and we are going to be sharing personal ghost stories and woo-woo stories. Lucky and I will have a good time live on Lucky's channel, Lucky Stone 888, 8 p.m. I said it a few weeks ago, and I think I've said it many times, that if there is, I'm not saying there is, I'm really not, but if there is a quote unquote life review as we are transitioning out, right? If there is such a life review, I can almost guarantee you it's not going to be in the comprehension that most people put it in. It is that we will see every missed opportunity, because that's what this place is the land of opportunity. The earth can hold so many infinite potentialities. All of us are an opportunity. Our life, saying hello to someone or not saying hello to someone, opportunity. Someone says something to us, opportunity. And it is all based on, are we choosing love or are we choosing fear? Everything is an opportunity based in that. Are we choosing love or are we choosing fear? Are we seeing everything as an opportunity to practice compassion over judgment? Are we seeing everything as an opportunity to love ourselves and another? If there is such a thing of a life review at the end, like I said, folks, I can guarantee that that is what we will be witnessing. Oh man, I didn't shake that person's hand. Oh man, I stayed in the doldrums way too long at that part. Okay. Oh man, why didn't I give that person a hug? Oh my goodness, why didn't I go for that job? I just didn't even show up to the interview. Missed opportunity. This place is awesome. It is the one thing. It is the one thing that works along with destiny. Destiny is not really a thing until we begin to use it correctly and acknowledge that we live in the land of opportunity. This beautiful earth of ours. This is for all humans. All humans. So there is always a way for redemption. How does that redemption happen? Because 3 lives ago, you kicked that guy down the street. You kicked him out of the bar really harsh or something like that. You did something mean to that guy. Well, then all of a sudden in this life, he was the one that you allowed to get in the cab instead of you. Oh man, 4 or 5 lives ago, you knocked around some kind of prostitute. In this life, she's the woman that's pregnant that you gave her the seat on the bus. It does not have to be as big as you think it is, people. It's cause and effect, but it's in a much bigger, grander scale that if we just are better humans, it'll all work itself out. And that's why I say it would make no difference if you knew what your past lives or not, be a better person regardless, because it will all work itself out. There's always a way of redemption, but there is no way to dodge responsibilities which the soul has itself undertaken. Don't get lost in the past when you have an entire life of opportunity here, full of responsibilities, full of opportunities, full of all the richness of life that will automatically clear out the wreckage from the past. Thus, a life is a way of developing a preparation for the cleansing of the soul. Though it may be a hard path at times for the physical consciousness and the physical body, changes come, and some people say luck has intervened. But it is not luck. It is the result of what a soul has done about its opportunity for redemption. It's opportunity. I was thinking of where I wanted to end it, folks. And here, in the simplest of terms, he presents the law of grace, which supersedes atonement. Karma is rather the lack of living up to that which ye know ye should do. As ye would be forgiven, so forgive others. That is the manner to meet karma. And I know there was a lot of ye's there, so I'll read it a little bit different. Actually, I'll probably go back. Thus, a life is a way of developing. So, your life is a way of developing. That's why all these people say, we're learning, we're learning. I don't think you're actually learning anything. Sorry. That has been said a million times at Stars of the Morning Light. So, if you're just now tuning in, I apologize. We're not learning anything. You already know everything because it's in you. Everything that was built within your soul over all of the many, many, many past lives is within you. Now, do you have faith that it is? Do you trust that it is? That's a different story. But we're not learning anything new. We're not the same old stories are often happening. The difference is we're not choosing anything new. We're not choosing all of the most beautiful opportunities. We're not choosing ourself in many times. We're not choosing to do the right thing in the moment. We're not choosing correctly. So it has nothing to do with learning. It has nothing to do with learning. And it might just be how I'm caught up on words, but because of why I get caught up on this, and Here's a little tangent. I get caught up with people saying that this is a learning school and this earth and that we're learning and we're learning and we're just learning. Why? Because in a lot of ways, that leaves a very, very, very big window or door, I should say, for people to continuously live in their victim mentality, to continuously um, put everything off onto somebody else to do, to just to flat out not do and work with destiny that the way that this book is presenting in order to seize all the opportunities. If we are just quote unquote learning, well, then our ignorance, because if you don't know and you are learning, it means you're ignorant about something. When I know none of us are, we're choosing incorrectly. That's a choice. Incorrect choice is a choice, but it's not based out of we don't know. Now, doesn't mean that things don't happen and life progresses and we find ourselves in the mix of things. Once we become consciously aware, this is not a good situation. This is not a good marriage. This is not a good relationship. This is not a good job. This is not a good whatever it is. Once we become fully aware, then we have to make the right choices. Awareness and learning are two different things. That's why when we talk about gaining the full conscious awareness, which is your past lives, which is you trying to communicate with your higher self, all of the conscious awareness that it is, awareness is not learning, awareness is it is until it's something different. I'm in a horrible I now am aware I'm in a horrible relationship. Oh my goodness, it is until I choose to make efforts and steps out of it. And I'm not saying it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy at all. It's actually extremely hard. In all sorts of different scenarios. Extremely hard. But once again, hard and learning are two separate things. Hard and learning are two separate things. And so when I'm talking about opportunities, it is also that. It's not just the opportunity to choose to shake that person's hand or not, or choose to wave at your neighbor or not, or choose to make a phone call to an old friend you haven't spoken to in years, whatever it may be. It's not the pleasant opportunities either. It's not, it's all opportunities. It's all opportunities. So, what's a huge opportunity? I'm in a horrible relationship. I have the awareness now. I have the opportunity to change this. Not easy, not easy. But is there an opportunity? Yep, yep. And some have taken these opportunities in drastic ways over the thousands and thousands of years, and some of them haven't. But I really am trying to emphasize it's all choice. It's not learning. We do know right from wrong. That is ingrained in us because of all of that our soul has built through all of the lives. We come in knowing right and wrong. And then, heck, like my story, by the third day, I'm witnessing stuff that ain't right, and I am not okay with it, right? Heck, even before I got here, there was stuff that was not right. I was not okay with it. So then it shifts my perspective. It shifts my view, as in this place is not full of opportunities. I'm stuck in this hellhole. I'm stuck in this crummy family relationship, jail, institution, whatever it may be, I must be stuck. And so now I have to figure out how I got to learn all my past lives in order to fix my karma so I don't ever have to come back to this hellhole. That is people's thoughts. And or, oh, we're just learning. We're learning. No, you do know the difference between right and wrong. Everyone does. Everything's a choice. Everything's an opportunity. Everything's a choice. Everything's an opportunity. And yes, children. Children know right from wrong because it's energy. Scary, violent, scary energy. Kids know, right? Now, do kids know how to drive a car? No. Oh, well, most adults don't even either. But do we have to train kids? Do they have to learn their ABCs to not touch the hot stove? Yes. That's not the same as identifying energy for what it is. That we do know. It's what we choose to do with it. It's all choice, folks. All choice. So that was my little tangent because I do disagree with everyone continuously saying, well, and we're just learning. No, no, we're not learning. We make horrible choices that then are played out in cause and effect, that then lead to more horrible choices, that then lead into more cause and effect. And then it takes a whole lot of making some good choices to get out of the cause and effect law of this universe that we live in to get us moving in the right direction to continuously to make good choices based out of we live in the world of opportunity. So no, I don't think we're learning. That's I'm fine if people want to say that, but I am firm on that. I do not believe that we are learning right from wrong. Humans know what right from wrong is. Period. They do. Now, do they act? Do they act and react in right and wrong? It's choice. Changes come, and some people say luck has to intervene, but it is not luck. It is the result of what the soul has done about its opportunity for redemption. And here, the simplest of terms, he presents the law of grace, which supersedes atonement. Karma is rather the lack of living up to that which you know you should do. As you as as you would be forgiven, so forgive in others. That is the manner to meet karma. Thank you, Edgar Cayce. Thank you, Edgar Cayce. The law of grace is the way to meet anything with karma, to choose compassion over judgment, to forgive yourself and others. Cayce then goes on to talk about how throughout many of his readings, there's a lot of cases of individuals whose karmic sin was their determination to clench onto their obsolete guilt and shame rather than make a positive effort to balance them by the forgiveness of others. And that's what I mean, folks. We're not learning. When we use words like that and we allow, oh, karma, I must have a lot of karma, and we're not paying attention to the opportunities. In many, many, many ways, it's because we're not meeting our life in forgiveness of self and others. We're not meeting destiny with any kind of opportunity of clean slate out of cause and effect because we like to hold on to all these concepts of guilt, shame, remorse, victimhood, laziness, all of it, greed, competition, lust. I mean, anything low vibration, cling on to because we understand that cause and effect. But we also understand cause and effect can also operate in higher consciousness. But we can't get to higher consciousness without acceptance and forgiveness. Without acceptance and forgiveness, that it is, as destiny is within, it is of faith, it is as the gift of creative forces. I mean, folks, I don't ever want to like, I don't want to seem that I'm coming down on people, but we really do have to pay attention to what we're saying and doing. Because when we say stuff like, well, and we're learning, that's fine. But it's not that you're learning, it's that it just took you a long time to start choosing yourself. You can say that. That's not a lesson to learn. You came knowing it as a baby, by the way. You ever meet a baby? They're the most selfish things on the planet. You knew it, and then you lose it. So it's not a learning. It's not a learning. The human puts a stress upon karma. The human puts a stress upon karma. And I'll end it with this. This came from Cayce. If you live by the law, you must judge by the law. But if you live by faith, you judge by faith. Which, in his end, for him, if you try to live within these universal, I do not refer to them as cosmic laws because if you actually kind of get more to, if you're more a part of cosmic reality, galactic cause and effect is not the exact same. I don't practice a whole lot of hermetic principles. I'm trying to help people understand that they don't either. Um, but if you operate in the law, then you're going to have the perception that everything is within that law. And so you're going to continue to say things like, well, I'm learning. I should have done better. I that. And I'm not saying don't have grace and compassion for yourself, right? Cayce and I both would agree that that supersedes any karmic stuff. Forgive yourself. But it has nothing to do with learning. And the reason why I say this is because it has to do with awareness. The reason why I'm saying this and I'm beating this horse home, I'm really beating it home, is because it is very prominent in this world that we allow so much to happen to us, with us, to others. We allow so much. And it's based on these concepts that are related to not forgiving ourselves, not forgiving others, and then not choosing to shape a whole new destiny. And it is truly based out of people not feeling worthy and thinking that they are still low on the totem pole of life. They are these little ants. And so things happen to them. And then they have to learn about it. And then it takes a whole lot of learning to start doing different. And so I am trying to expose You're not an ant. You're extremely, extremely, extremely worthy if you are here present in this life, current now. Whenever you're watching this, you are extremely worthy and you are ultimate and mighty and amazing and a miracle and a gift to this world. Instead of let's saying that we're continuously learning, why don't we just start doing? Why don't we just start seeing all the opportunities and taking them? And why don't we start doing for ourselves and others? And it starts with acceptance and forgiveness, which brings the full scope of awareness. And then we can just be doing and choosing and making all sorts of great choices. So I'm trying to say, lay down this concept of you keep learning. There's nothing to learn. You already know. You already know. Do you act as if? Nah, yeah, that's up to you, right? That's up to you. So, yes, Shelley said, hopefully we make better decisions and do more good. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, Jean Paul, I'm just about to say goodbye, but thank you for coming, my dear. You'll want to re-listen. Thank you, Lori and Shelley, for being here with me today. And Jean Paul, I'll see you again, my dear. Everyone, catch Lucky Stone 888 and I live on his channel this Friday, October 25th. Live, live, live. We're going to be sharing personal spooky stories. And I am also here live Friday mornings at 11 a.m. To greet the day with everybody and say hello. So, everyone, I guess I'll have to catch you later. Luckstone888, he should be tagged in the description. Please go subscribe to him and meet me there Friday. Bye, everyone. Cheers.